We'll start with the 87th, or with the color guard, presentation of colors. The Posen VFW 7804 is providing the color guard this morning. If you would, please rise for the presentation of colors. Gentlemen, remove your hats and remain standing for the invocation afterwards. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Order. Detail. Forward. Order.
The invocation will now be given by David Brusky.
Dear Lord, as we gather today, we give thanks for all the blessings we have in our lives, for our health, and for the daily comforts that we enjoy. We pray for everyone here today, for their families, and for all the people throughout the world. We're grateful to our public servants and to those who serve or now serve in the military for their personal sacrifices for our safety and the security of our nation. We ask that you bless us and our leaders and the leaders of all nations with your wisdom, integrity, and compassion. Grant us your grace and guidance so that we may live each day to our fullest potential. Amen.
You may be seated. On behalf of the Board of Directors and employees, Presque Electric and Gas Co-op, I would like to welcome you to the meeting today. My name is John Brown, and I serve as chairman for the Board of Directors. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our Co-op Board of Directors, attorney, CFO, and CEO. Will the directors stand as I call your name? We have Sandy Bravich from Sheboygan, Sally Knopp from the at-large seat, Brent Lucas from the Alpena District, Kurt Kronyak from the Alpena District, Darrell Peterson from the Mount Morency District, Chris Nagel from the Mount Morency District, and Raymond Wozniak from the Presque District. We have our legal counsel here today, Blaze Ryan, our CFO, Randy Stemke, and our CEO, Alan Berg. The directors may be seated, and now the employees will introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming to your annual membership meeting. We're pleased to be here and to help serve in this capacity. My name is Tade Price. I work in the IT department, and I have been with the co-op for 13 years.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I work with the IT department, and I've been with the co-op for about 3 years.
Good morning. My name is Carrie Schleben. I'm the accounting process manager, and I've been with PIE&G for 18 years.
My name is Isabel. I'm in the accounting department, and I've worked with the co-op for almost 2 years.
Good morning. I am Emily Tellini, and I work in member services, and I have been at the co-op for 36 years.
Good morning. My name is Tricia Schell, and I've been with the co-op for 8 years.
My name's Hannah. I am part of the data processing team, and I've been with the co-op for a year and a half.
Hello, I'm Heather Naus, and I'm with Member Services and Data Processing, and I've been here for almost 2 years.
I'm Luke Ellenberger. I work in Member Services, and I've been here for almost 2 years.
Good morning, I'm Levi Parr. I'm maintenance and I've been here for 9 months.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Hartung. I've been work with the IT team and work with a co-op just over 7 years.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Van Schoten. I'm the executive assistant here at the co-op, and I've been here 4 years.
Good morning. I'm Jason MacArthur. I work with the PIE&G Connect team. I've been here for 3 years.
Morning. My name is Greg Karsten. I'm Director of Gas Operations and Fleet Management. I've been at the co-op for 19 years.
Good morning. I'm Jody Paul. I work for the co-op for 4 years, and I'm in the gas department.
I'm Mason Cortman. I'm a natural gas technician. I've been with the co-op for 5 years.
I'm Charlie Badgerow. I'm a lineman and a meter technician, and I've been here 9 years.
Good morning. I'm Chance Mason. I'm a meter technician. I've been with the PIE&G for 2 years.
Morning, I'm Dale Dowling. I'm a system engineer and been here 5 years.
Good morning, I'm Jason Dick. I'm in building maintenance and I've been here for 9 months.
Hi, I'm Sam Hall. I'm an accounting technician and I've been here just almost 3 years.
Good morning, I'm Melissa Brandt. I've been here 3 years and I'm a tech records clerk in the fiber department.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Felicia Kumper. I've been with the co-op for 12 years, and I am a dispatcher.
Hi, my name is Katie Beebe. I am the HR generalist, and I've been with the co-op for about 3 years.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Hopp. I'm a member services representative, and I just celebrated my 4th anniversary.
I'd like to thank the employees for involved in planning our annual meeting this year, as well as those on the job today. These men and women do an outstanding job every day to provide excellent service to our membership. I think I can speak for the entire board of directors when I say it is an honor to serve our members. You have put your trust in us, and we take our role seriously. I want to remind all of you that as a member, you are free to attend our monthly board meetings. They're held on the 4th Tuesday of every month at the co-op. And if you have a question, feel free to contact a co-op board member or director. I will now welcome Attorney Ryan to conduct the business portion of today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, everyone. My name is Blaze Ryan, and I'm honored to represent the board and the co-op as legal counsel. So to begin with the business meeting, I would first state that the notice of the 2024 annual meeting appeared in Country Lines magazine. I would entertain a motion now to dispense with the reading of the notice. A motion, is there support? Support. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none opposed, the motion passes. I would also then move on to the reading of the 2023 minutes. A copy of those 2023 minutes was made available prior to this meeting. Is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the 2023 annual membership meeting? There's a motion. Is there support? There is support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposed? Hearing none opposed, that will pass. Are there any correction to the 2023 minutes? And if there are none, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2023 minutes of the annual membership meeting. A motion, is there support? Support. There's support. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? Hearing none opposed, that will pass as well. We will move on to the election of directors. Or to the nomination for directors. For Presque Isle Electric and Gas, in 2024, we have 3 terms expiring. 1 in the Sheboygan District, 1 in the Montmorency District, and 1 at large. We also have a vacancy in the Presque Isle District, which will be a 2-year term. I would like to remind everyone that there are 3 ways to make a nomination for director. They are 1, by the nominating committee, which met in June, 2, by petition, and 3, a nomination here on the floor. In accordance with Article 3, Section 3, the nominating committee is selected to prepare nominations for directors consisting of the names from each district or geographical area. The nominating committee met on June 24th, 2024, for the purpose of nominating candidates for directors of Presque Isle Electric and Gas Co-op. The following individuals were nominated by the nominating committee. For the Sheboygan District, the committee nominated Sandra Borowitz, Dennis Ernst, and Charles Kalansky. For the Montmorency District, the committee nominated Lloyd Peltier and Daryl Peterson. For the Presque Isle District, the committee nominated Scott Cordes, Dallas Hyde, Susan Radke, and Elias Teratuta. For director at large, the committee nominated Sally Knupp, Angela Stemke, and Mary Talaski. This year, the co-op received 3 nominations by petition. Ruth Ann Largent and Gerald Smigelski petitioned for candidate of the Presque Isle District. Wesley Repke petitioned for candidate of the Montmorency District. Now I will now ask 3 times if there are any nominations for the director from the floor. Are there any nominations? And I'll ask again, are there any nominations for director from the floor? And one more time, are there any nominations for director from the floor? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to close nominations for the director of the respective districts. I have a motion. Do I have support? And there's support. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. And is there any opposed? That motion will pass. So at this time, I would like to introduce the director nominees to you and invite them to comment on their candidacy. Each will have 5 minutes to address you. They're going to go in alphabetical order within their district. So first, I am going to announce director candidate Sandra Borowitz and invite her to come speak.
Thank you for coming out today. It's so great to see such a great crowd, large crowd here today. I am married, I have a bachelor's degree, and I worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield for 28 years. I've been on the board for PIE&G for 10 years. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to serve you, and I would appreciate your vote. I will always keep in mind what is best for the members and the co-op. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I would next invite Dennis Ernst to come up and speak.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dennis Ernst from Sheboygan. Happy to be here, and I want to tell you that every speaker knows the main rule about giving a presentation, and that is if you've got something to say, be brief, no matter how long it takes. So I'm going to be brief today and tell you just a little bit about my background and what I feel are my qualifications to serve on the PIE&G Board of Directors. My wife and I, Catherine, live just outside of Sheboygan with our adorable Great Pyrenees and 3 cats. Now, the cats will be the first to tell you that it's their world, and they just let us live in it. As a native of Michigan, I went to Albion College, and I finished my training as a medical technologist in Saginaw, passed my national board exams, and for the next 20 years, I have been working at various hospitals as a medical technologist, drawing and testing blood samples to assist physicians in medical diagnosis. After that, and for the next 20 years, my wife, being also a healthcare professional, she and I started and ran a healthcare education company that served thousands of hospitals and academic institutions, serving as subject matter experts on, and here's your word of the day, phlebotomy. Does anybody know what phlebotomy is? Oh, good. Tell me. It's drawing blood. Drawing blood. It was the niche of all niches, but we immersed ourselves in it and became known as authorities in the subject. So you're asking me, Dennis, what does this have to do with being a board member for an energy cooperative? Absolutely nothing. But what does qualify me, though, is having started and run a successful business with employees, thousands of customers, a catalog of over 100 products, serving and partnering with manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, government agencies, and serving on multiple boards of directors in the industry. If I'm blessed and honored to serve as a board for PIE&G, I will use the same leadership strategy that I used in my own company, and that is servant leadership. As a servant leader, I will spend more time talking, or more time listening than talking, especially in the very beginning. I want to learn what our customers have to deal with. In fact, I don't know if this is even possible, but I envision sitting in on phone calls that come into the company just to hear what their needs are and how our staff responds to those needs. I want to talk to the staff. I want to talk to our employees to see how we're doing as their employer. What are we doing right? What needs attention? I want to talk to our board of directors and our leadership to see how we're doing there and what I can learn from them about our successes and our opportunities, our threats, how the company runs. I want to talk to our vendors on how we can improve our relationships and strengthen the cooperative. All this is going to take an immersion in the energy industry, an immersion like I did in healthcare. And it's going to look a lot like a full-time job. But that's what immersion learning is supposed to look like. And so with your support, I would be honored to serve PIE&G in that capacity and use what I have learned as a business owner and a business leader to employ it on the community level now that I'm retired and continue serving in that capacity. It's an honor to be considered, and thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you. And at this time, I would ask, is candidate Charles Kalansky here in attendance? I don't think he is, but I would just announce his name and give him the opportunity to speak. So we'll move on next to the Montmorency District. And first, in alphabetical order, is going to be candidate Lloyd Peltier.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. My name's Lloyd Peltier. Moved up into the Mount Morency area 7 years ago. Sat through COVID, like many of you did. And after COVID, I got active in the community as I became president of the Hillman Senior Center. I served for 19 months on that, raising it up from the ashes, basically, and put $2,800 in our bank account, got everything back up and running again. It was a difficult struggle, and I know everyone is still struggling hard from COVID. After I left the Hillman Senior Center, I ran for the commissioner of Mount Morency, the Hillman District, District number 3. I've served in that capacity now for 2 years and 2 months, taking an early I was brought before the board by the commissioner then, Geyer Baylog, who had taken a full-time job as teacher, and I was asked to sit in his stead, being that I'd already won the primary and would be elected to the board the following January anyway. I love serving my community. I love Mount Morency area. I love especially the Hillman District where I live. It's been a pleasure serving on all of my sub-boards. I have 12 additional boards that I sit on. 4 of the top serving committees, boards are Thunder Bay Transportation, NEMSCA, Health Department number 4, and Mental Health. And in serving on those boards, I think my association with the communities has become very well-rounded, and you learn more about people's needs and different ways to help them out. It's been a pleasure for me. I run again for the Mount Morency Commissioner. I've won that. I'll be seated on that for the next 4 months. And I've put in for the Presque Isle Electric and Gas Commission, again in hopes of serving my community and helping those that need help. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll reset the clock and ask candidate Daryl Peterson to come up at this time.
Good morning. As a director for the last 15 years, I appreciate all of you coming. Thanks to all the staff that put this thing together, people here at Posen getting the school ready, and of course, thank you for voting for me over those years. I appreciate it, and I'll try my best, if elected again, to continue in that capacity. Usually, being a former school teacher, you have a bunch of notes that you go by. And you know, you plan your class activity. I've been retired for quite a few years. Well, I got the notes, and you know what happened? I went to the eye doctor the other day. He gave me a new set of glasses. So I don't know who's who, but anyway, and these aren't working that well. So I hope I don't skip around too much. Okay, first of all, again, I thank you for your votes over the years. I was elected, like I said, about 15 years ago. I served on the liaison board before that. And so I got to know the cooperative quite a bit. And when asked to be one of the board candidates, there was 4 of us at the time from Montmorency District, and I got elected and been there since. Since that time, one of the things I am very proud of doing is establishing the Peterson Vocational School Fund. It's a scholarship fund given to a student each year from our district. I'm very happy to report that the first student 4 years ago was working in the tool and die business, and the most recent one is attending the welding school over here in Onaway. So you need college graduates, but you also need people to, work with their hands, and they don't need a 4-year degree. And that was always my emphasis being a business education teacher. I kept telling the kids, get some form of education if you can, get some training, and then, like I always tell my nieces and nephew, I says, make sure Uncle Darrell keeps getting that Social Security and get a good job. So anyway, that's always worked out. I've been active in the community for well over probably 40 years now. Been on the township board, been on the board of commissioners like Lloyd mentioned. I was on it before him, serving 11 years, and was on an awful lot of committees. It is a strenuous job, but being single, I had the time to do it, and I think most of the organizations that I have belonged to have been a better organization afterwards with some of my input. I like that. Some of the things, tell you a little bit about some of the things I've been elected to, I guess. Michigan Township Association, I was a district director for 8 years, serving northeastern Lower Michigan, also a director for the Michigan Association of Retired School Teachers. I was on that for about 4 years, serving as a state director, and was on Thunder Bay Clinic Board. I started the Lions Club in Hillman, and a few things like that. So I've been in the community a whole lot. Secretary of the Chamber of Commerce at one time, and so I enjoy the community. It's been good to me, and I've tried to be good to them. Also, dealing with Presque Isle Electric and Gas, most of the committees I have served on. I was chairman of the Presque Isle Electric and Gas new building. That committee had quite a few commitments. We stayed within budget, even with COVID and inflation. And I'm very proud to say that I had a part in getting that building all together. We have a lot more staff than we have had in the old building, and so we can accommodate them, make it safer and so on for the employees. So that's one of the big things. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that those who work out a plan, I guess you could call it, to join any organization, whether it's PIE&G or whatever. My time's up. But get there quick and help each of those committees out. I told you I was a school teacher and I talk a lot. Sorry. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. And next I would invite Wesley Repke to come up and speak.
Hello. Because from where I'm standing, that's not what's important today. What is important is that I am PIE&G's former Director of Engineering. I say former because a few months ago I stepped down from my position and took a teaching job at ACC, which has actually been turning out pretty good for me. Why did I do that, you might ask? Well, I spent the past 5 years begging the leadership of PIE&G to hire more engineers. And I've also spent 5 years watching PIE&G hire a good number of new employees, none of which were engineers. Why do we need more engineers? Well, if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that PIE&G has been, well, a little bit busy. Hence why we've been hiring so many people and why we needed our brand new building. We've been investing in a lot of new things. Obviously, there's the AMI system, the fiber to the home network, the new headquarters, and the acquisition of Aurora Gas. Those are the visible projects, the ones that are easy to see from the outside. But we've been busy doing a lot more. Projects that are a little less visible, projects that will help us modernize, become more efficient, or even offer new services, things like digital mapping and staking, digital accounting processes, paperless billing, new ultrasonic natural gas meters, electric vehicle chargers, and so much more. The problem is that as we deploy more and more of these complex systems, they require more work from engineers. Engineers like me, and engineers like Dale, who was up here earlier. You see, engineers design, build, operate, maintain, and repair complex systems. The electric grid, the natural gas distribution system, the fiber network, and all of the systems, hardware and software, that we use to control those utilities are complex by their very nature. And they require engineers to take care of them and ideally expand them so we can use them to their full benefit. We seem to have a small problem, though. There appears to be a lack of understanding that as we expand these complex systems and increase the amount of complex work that's being done, that we also need to expand our abilities to accommodate that work by hiring more engineers. Because if we don't, it's too much work for 1 or 2 engineers like me and Dale to handle by ourselves. And it will result in exactly what happened: burnout and departure. Which now leaves us with a critical engineering knowledge gap. And that's not a good thing. You see, if you leave engineering decisions up to non-engineers, you end up with situations like the ones that are currently happening to Ocean Gate and Boeing. In the case of Ocean Gate, with the Titan submersible that imploded on its way to Titanic last year, engineers refused to get into the sub during testing because they knew. But their concerns were ignored. Some of them left the company, and some were even fired for raising concerns. Boeing has struggled with similar issues for years, and I know that on a more personal level because I worked on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner from 2007 to 2009. And the problems that have led to the issues Boeing is facing today were visible back then. The only difference between Ocean Gate and Boeing is time. Some issues crop up more slowly when you start ignoring engineers, and frequently they end in disaster. Some disasters end with loss of life, some are purely financial. So what do we do about this? How do we prevent PIE&G from becoming the next Ocean Gate or Boeing? Well, despite all the doom and gloom that my speech may have suggested here, this is a relatively easy problem to fix, and one I think we can have within our grasp. We start with knowledge, specifically technical knowledge, and we make sure it's part of our leadership's decision-making process, which is what brings us to today. If you believe, as I do, that PIE&G deserves to have a well-rounded leadership that includes adequate technical knowledge and skill, I would appreciate your vote. I've never owned a business. I don't have a business degree. I'm not a politician. I've never worked in public office. But I have been an engineer for 15 years, and I know the technical ins and outs of the utility sector. And I am intimately familiar with the technical challenges facing PIE&G specifically today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and we'll move on to the Presque Isle District at this point. And again, in alphabetical order, I would ask Mr. Scott Cordes to come up.
I'm the opposite of Daryl. I have to take my glasses off to read. My name is Scott Cordes, and I'm a candidate for the vacant Presque Isle District seat. If you don't know me, I'm from the Posen area here. You'll probably recognize my wife Diane, as she has managed the credit union right across the road for a good number of years. I'm going to be very brief, as you have a lot of us to listen to. I'm not going to be like the TV politicians and tell you a bunch of lies about how I can make your life better. Because let's be honest, we all want the same thing. We want good, cheap, reliable energy and internet. But at the same time, we have to be careful not to let our co-op go belly up. I would like to mention that I am a lifelong resident of the area and have spent nearly 35 years as a high school government and economics teacher, as well as serving as the district's athletic director, spending many times in this gym, more times in the old gym. Serving as athletic director, I oversaw 20 coaches in nearly a dozen different sports. So along with that, and serving as the Bismarck Township treasurer for the last, what's going on, 24 years now, I'm very comfortable with dealing with large budgets and large staffs. When I was first approached to run for the board many years ago, I felt I simply didn't have the time. After attending a PIE&G board meeting this fall, I realized that was a wise decision, as the position does require a great deal of time. Now, having retired, I feel I have the proper amount of time to devote to the PIE&G, or as Dad and Grandpa always called it, the REA. I'd very much appreciate your consideration, and may the good Lord bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I would invite candidate Dallas Hyde to come up and speak. Is Mr. Hyde here? Since I don't see him, then it would be Ruth Ann Largent, if she'd like to come up.
Good morning. As a 30-year PIE&G member, I made the decision to run for the board after working for PIE&G from 2019 to 2021, during which time I attended PIE&G board meetings on a regular basis. I attended the board meetings initially as the cybersecurity consultant and then as director of broadband operations, where I led the effort to build PIE&G Connect fiber internet service that many of you enjoy today. I have a degree in computer science from U of M, and among my experiences, I was responsible for moving General Motors into the Renaissance Center, building MGM Grand Detroit Casino, and leading the teams to keep it operating, and serving as Chief Information Officer for a global manufacturing company. Affordable, reliable electricity is a growing national issue, and I am committed to working with PIE&G management to make sure we are always adopting practices in purchase and delivery of gas, electric, and now fiber. I'm an active member of the Daughters of Isabella through St. Dominic's Church in Metz and the Rogers City's Garden Club. My husband and I live in Hawks with our dog, where we hunt, fish, boat, garden, and enjoy all of the benefits that Northern Michigan has to offer. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to meeting you after the meeting.
Thank you. And next, I would invite candidate Susan Radke to come up.
Good morning. Well, I want to start by saying thank you for the honor of being considered for a seat on the board of directors to represent you, the members of PIE&G. I've been inspired by the great accomplishments and the opportunities that lie in the future to improve the lives of our members and our communities. I'm inspired by PIE&G linemen like Eric, Tom, Don, and Scott, who joined forces with other Michigan co-ops and traveled south to aid in restoring power to the folks who were affected by the hurricanes. These amazing men are examples of what it looks like when people come together and work to support communities in need. I'm inspired by the PIE&G employees for your dedication to make things run efficiently and effectively. You should be proud of your individual contributions toward the success of our co-op. I'm inspired by all the members who round up their utility bills as part of the Community First Fund program that supports so many wonderful charities in our communities. And I'm inspired by our leadership for navigating through this dynamic energy environment to make important and informed decisions that sustain and improve the quality of life for our members. I would like to contribute my skills and experience to that team. You'll vote today for people to represent you on the board of directors. There are many talented candidates to consider when casting your vote. What qualities should you look for when making your decision? Commitment, someone who is passionate about PIE&G's mission and members and is willing to contribute their time, talent, and resources. Business skills, someone who can communicate effectively and is able to help with financial decisions. Integrity, someone who values compliance and transparency and possesses an attitude of fiduciary obligation to the organization. Diversity, the board should represent a variety of skills, knowledge, and experience to support all areas of the organization. Teamwork, a team player who contributes to the organization's mission. And finally, attitude. As the author Stephen Covey writes, seek first to understand, then to be understood. It's important to consider all options before making the best decision. I believe that actions speak louder than words, so here are some of the examples of my contributions. When I became a Board of Trustees member for Akiak Township, they didn't have a website. Citizens didn't have convenient access to stay informed or participate in governance unless they were able to attend a monthly meeting. I worked to establish a website where meeting minutes and special notices and other helpful resources are located. The township is saving taxpayer dollars by publishing the semi-annual newsletter online versus incurring the cost to print and mail these publications. And thank you, PIE&G, for coming through with our fiber optic network just in time so that our rural residents could actually access the website. As a volunteer board member of Akiak Outdoor Center, I'm leading a project to raise funds for an ADA accessible pathway with picnic pods and a dock kayak canoe launch so that people of all ages and abilities can enjoy fishing, boating, and nature watching, and access will be free to the public. I approach life with a passion for learning, a positive attitude, the heart of a servant leader, and respect for those I serve. And I sure would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I would invite candidate Gerald Smigelski to come up.
Good morning, everyone. There's a lot of people in this room that look familiar to me because I've been a public figure in Presque County for over 35 years. My wife and I have been members of PIE&G for the last 38 years. I worked at this school system. I graduated from this school system many years ago. I worked at this school system for 5 years as a financial person. I then went to the Presque County Road Commission, where I was their financial person for 17 years and then became the manager. I've dealt with contracts. I've dealt with MDOT, with which is another story. I've dealt with the townships. Everybody's familiar with all those things. If elected, I still would have an open mind for a lot of these things. I'm still a public servant. I've always been a public servant all my life, and I would like to continue to be so. Please remember me when you vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would invite Elias Teratuta to come up and speak.
I'm a lifelong resident of Presque Isle County and a member of PIE&G my entire adult life. I became actively involved with PIE&G about 25 years ago. I was first appointed to the Community's First Fund Committee and served a total of 14 years during the last 25 years. I also was appointed to the Nominating Committee and the Election and Credentials Committee for most of the last 25 years. I now intend to get more seriously involved by being a director on a board of directors, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we're going to move on to the at-large candidates. And first, in alphabetical order, is going to be candidate Sally Knupp.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve as your director for the last 33 years. And I've taken many classes through NRECA over the years. I'm a certified director. And I also attained Director Gold status, which is the highest level of certification that NRECA has. It has been an honor to serve the co-op. I've really enjoyed it over the years. It's part of my life. And the co-op is one of the first things that I go to outside of my family when we have meetings or something to do. Our last project was with building the new building, and we're very proud of that. I hope everyone has seen it or been in it. It's nothing elaborate, but it's wonderful. And our employees have more room, and they just enjoy working there. They were just too crowded in the old building. But we're very proud of that building. But anyway, I'm from Rogers City. I live between Rogers City and Hawks. We have a farm. And the farm is a Centennial Farm. The farm is rented out now. We've gave that up quite a while ago because it was just getting too much for us. But farm's rented out, and it's still an active farm. I have really appreciated your vote over the last years, and I'm looking for your vote again for today. I really appreciate serving the co-op, and thank you very much.
Thank you. There are two left, but I'm not sure if they're here. First, I don't think Angela Stemke is here, but I'll give her an opportunity if she is. And I don't see her. And then the last is Mary Talaski. I don't think she's here either. And not seeing anyone running up, we'll move on to actually the most exciting part, which is the bylaw amendment that was on the ballot. It's actually not interesting at all. What this was an amendment to simply change some deadlines of the publication of when you can run and when you can be nominated for a director. We wanted those to fall in at the same time, so they matched with everyone's biographies going out in country lines, so all the candidates would have an opportunity, if they applied by petition, to have their biography and photo published as well. So that's simply what that is. And at this time, we're actually going to ask you to complete your voting, if you've not already done so. and we're going to start with the Election and Credentials Committee going around and picking up ballots that are from the floor today. The results of the meeting, they're going to be read today, but they'll also be available later today, and they'll be submitted for publication in the newspapers. And while we are picking up the ballots, I'd really like to thank the Election and Credentials Committee. They put in a lot of hard work, and I can tell you that every vote was counted with a lot of integrity. Oh, if you have ballots, please hold them up. Sorry. Hold your ballots up if you voted so they can see and come and collect them. I see one up front here. See one in the back. Are there any others? You see it? You guys see any? Okay, I don't see any more ballots, so they're going to count those, and while they're doing that and getting us a final tally, we're going to move on to presentation and consideration of reports. And the next item on our agenda is the auditor's report. The 2023 audit was performed by Eide Bailey, and at this time I would like to introduce Chief Financial Officer Randy Stempke to present the 2023 financials.
Thank you, Blaze. Good morning, everyone. I'm Randy Stempke. I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Presque Isle Electric and Gas, and I'm here to present the financial results for the most recent year ended December 31st, 2023. Beginning with the operating statement, as you can see, that's up on the boards on both sides here. Our operating revenues for 2023 were $59,381,956, and that mostly consisted of the amounts that we billed to our members for electric, natural gas, and for fiber in 2023. Moving on to the cost of energy, that's basically the amounts that we purchase from Wolverine Power for our electric and our natural gas suppliers for our natural gas. That was $27,858,387, and those amounts correspond to the PSCR, or Power Supply Cost Recovery charges on your bill for the electric side, and the GCR, or the Gas Cost Recovery charges on your bill for natural gas. Next is the other operating costs, which is everything that we need, all the expenses that we have for operating the cooperative. It's our brushing, our employees, all of our equipment and vehicles, property taxes, anything that goes into operating the co-op. Next is our fixed charges, which is our interest on our debt. So after you take our operating revenues and subtract all the expenses off, we came up with a net operating margin of a negative $1,511,236. The next line is capital credits, and just like you, we invest in cooperatives that allocate capital credits back to us, and that's where that comes from. Wolverine Power is one, our banker, CFC, is another, and then Resco is a third, where we buy most of our materials and supplies. That amounted to $2,412,791. We had some non-operating margins of just over $1 million, $1,099,939, which would be just disposal of some of our assets in our plant, which left us with a net margin for 2023 of a negative $198,384. Moving on to the balance sheet. The left side of the balance sheet, or our asset side, total utility plant. The electric side is $344,461. Our total utility plant on the natural gas side is $49,052,138. The fiber side, total utility plant, is $49,913,702. And then obviously we have to depreciate that over a number of years, the plant. So that would, that amounted to, at the end of 2023, our accumulated depreciation on that plant was $90,142,208, which left us with a net utility plant of $163,168,093. Other assets, the investment in associated organizations would again be our investments in Wolverine or Resco or CFC, which was just over $28 million. And then we also have some current assets, which is our short-term assets, cash, accounts receivable of $28,194,656. A small amount of deferred debits there of $43,000, which left us at the end of 2023 with total assets amounting to $219,484,163. The other side of the balance sheet, the equity and liabilities. And equity is the amount that you members have contributed to the co-op. On the electric side, our equity is $45,755,157. Natural gas equity is $9,272,261. And our equity for fiber is a negative $3,834,802. Moving on to the liabilities, our long-term debt, mostly with CFC, is $136,558,508. And then we also again have some current liabilities, which is short-term liabilities, accounts payable, our lines of credits, $30,758,541. Again, another small amount of deferred credits, which again totals up to our equities and liability of $219,484,163, which ties in with our assets. So who owns PIE&G? Again, our assets, which is the value of our company, $219,484,163. And then an equity that you guys have put into it, the members have contributed, $51,192,616, or 23.32%. Our debt with the bankers, $136,558,508, or 62.22%. And then we do have other creditors and vendors at $31,733,039, or 14.46%, which equals out to the 100%, and the total of $219,484,163. The last slide that I have just shows the amount of services that we have for each of our operations. So at the end of 2023, we had 35,099 active electric services, 13,413 active gas services, and then for fiber, we had 3,382 active internet services and 185 active voice phone services. And with that, I will turn the microphone back over to our attorney, Brian.
All right, thank you, Randy. Next, I am going to present the auditor's opinion. And as part of the vital governance process, it is important that the financial statements provided to management, the board of directors, and the membership accurately reflect the financial activities of the cooperative. As part of this governance process, the board annually retains an independent auditor to review the cooperative's financial statements. As the board's corporate attorney and legal counsel, I'm happy to report that the financials presented by the chief financial officer have been independently audited by Eide Bailly, an audit firm retained by the board of directors. On the screen is the auditor's unqualified 12/31/2023. And next, we're going to move on to the CEO report from Alan Berg. What's that? There'll be a question and answer session. Yep.
Welcome, good morning, welcome to our 87th annual meeting. It's great to be here. In preparing remarks today, struggle with how long it should be, how long should I go, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So I'm going to use the broken clock on the back wall to make sure that I keep track of my time adequately. But to begin, a round of thank yous go out to so many people to be here today. Thank you to the Posen Schools for letting us use this facility. Thank you to the VFW for the presentation of colors, the invocation, and the auxiliary for preparing the lunch. Extreme gratitude for all of that. A lot of thank yous to all of the employees that work for the cooperative. You've all heard that it takes a village. It really does take a village to get all of this done on a day-to-day basis. And the size of our village is 110 people. That's a lot of folks. They do a lot of great work for the membership. And not last but not least, all of you, all of the members who are the owners of the cooperative. It's a great thanks for all of your support over the years, questions, understanding of everything that we do. So this is my first president report, CEO report. Trying to think what to think of, what should I talk about, and I summed it down to one word, and the word was proud. I think it's important that we are proud to be members of the cooperative. I think it's proud that we are to be proud as employees of the cooperative, and also to be proud to have the cooperative in northeastern Michigan, serving our members with critical services for our electric, natural gas, and our newly division of fiber internet, which is a great need of our community. So looking at the past of our cooperative, I wanted to read a story in my research for today. And I want to read it verbatim right from my notes because I want it to be 100% accurate. So I want to talk a little bit about what it means to be a cooperative. 87 years ago, and this is our 87th annual meeting, in the early decades of the 20th century, most of northeastern Michigan was literally in the dark. On September 22nd, 1937, Presque-Isle Electric Cooperative set its first pole right here in the village of Posen. The lines built that fall were the first to be energized by a cooperative in the state of Michigan. That brought electricity to 82 farm homes just before Christmas. And I really felt that that captured the essence of what is a cooperative. What does a cooperative do? We have concerns for the community, concerns for our membership, and we do things for the members that others might not do. And I think that's something to be proud of. And we bring things to just not urban areas, we're bringing it to rural and remote parts of Michigan where we call home, where we work, where we play, and that's something to be proud of. I think it's also notable that that happened 87 years ago, and over to the right is our fiber table and fiber internet presentation, that we're doing the exact same thing. We're going where nobody else would go to build critical services for you, the owners and members of the cooperative. A quick summary about what a cooperative is and maybe how it's different than a for-profit entity. As a nonprofit cooperative, we have open membership. We have member control elections. You've heard from candidates. You see the board of directors to the left and right. We cooperate among other cooperatives. You heard one of the candidates mention how we sent linemen to Florida to help other cooperatives in their time of need. That's an important distinction of what co-ops stand for and do. And concern for community. Those are just some of the highlights of 7 fundamental principles that we operate on a day-to-day basis. So that's a little bit about the past, and again, I think all of that history is something to continue to be proud of. To get us to the present, 2023, 2024, there's a lot changing. There's a lot going on. That does come with hurdles. It comes with challenges, responsibilities. Some are simpler than others. Some are hard. Some are short term. Some are long term. You heard our Chief Financial Officer talk about some of our financials. I just want to point out a little bit about the financials. Is our asset level, you just seen as $219 million. Last year it was $186 million. That is a humongous change, and it's talks to our investment in our infrastructure, our investment in our fiber, and that's a lot to manage. Also, you heard on the financials, we are nearly at a break even, a very slight negative margin for 2023. 2022, that was a $4 million negative margin. So there was a lot to come the last year or two to get through that, to make things balance up. So maybe some of that answers some of the questions you were asking. But we do have other challenges. We do continue to see rising costs. We do continue to see the impacts of inflation. We do continue to see the impacts on employee resources, retaining and getting specialized talent to do the things to make sure that we keep the cooperative running and then providing low cost and reliable resources to the membership. Just to talk a little bit about our fiber project, I'm sure everybody's aware of that. We've heard about that. Again, the table to our right, we are diligently and actively working to build the fiber network out across our service territory. Happy to report that we are approximately halfway through that. We've started in the Onaway area into the Sheboygan area, north of Rogers City on Lake Huron, Millersburg, and Hawks. Pretty much that area is open. That continues then through to circle in a clockwise rotation through Posen, the map over there in the blue. And we're going to continue to build day in, day out, day after day, week after week to continue to get into the Posen areas, the Alpena areas, Hillman, Beaver Lake, Avalon. And if you have questions about that, happy to answer those or talk over at the table to the right. We did recently celebrate our 5,000th customer. That is a really exciting milestone to have 5,000 members hooked up to the system. So we're happy about that. So that's a little bit of a brief. Again, the clock says I'm doing great. I haven't used any of my time so far. But that's a little bit about kind of the present. And then the future, I just to instill upon everybody that I think the future is bright and exciting. We have a lot of things going on at the cooperative. We can use the past to learn from, evaluate the present with our skills and resources and our diligence required to continually look into the future, plan to continue to provide benefits to the member owners of the cooperative. And I would just conclude, say it is a privilege and honor for myself, along with the employees and the board of directors, to work on behalf of all of the membership. Grateful for your trust and your support. And this is the 87th consecutive year, so thank you for coming to your meeting and the 87th annual meeting. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and appreciate your time.
Thank you, Alan. So next, we're going to move on to unfinished business, and since there was no quorum at last year's meeting, there can't be any unfinished business. So on to new business. I'm going to announce that there is also no quorum today. There were 32,192 ballots mailed. We needed 322 people for a quorum. And there is 144 registered members here today. So without a quorum, we would still continue with a question and answer session at this time. And we're going to do 3 minutes per person and a 20-minute total time limit. After 20 minutes, the membership may vote to continue with Q&A. Otherwise, we're going to move on with the meeting. So if there are any questions, you could bring them now to the microphone.
it on?
Is it on? Yes.
Hello.
Howdy.
I'll take my hearing aids off. I see the financial report on there, but I didn't see anything on there about salaries. Why is that? On your financial report, you told us all about that assets and all that, but you didn't put nothing on there about salaries. Why? Well, you're looking at me like I'm some kind of a... That's your job, not his. You're financial secretary.
So the financial reports are intended to be a summary of the health and condition of the cooperative. There are an immense amount, and we have a team of many, many people that prepare the financials. So we wouldn't have that presented on the screen. It's a summary of the health of the co-op, what is our equity position, our debt position, and it wouldn't get to that level of detail.
If you want to dance around the mulberry bush, I guess that was a good dance. I don't understand that. When you do a financial report, you put everything on it. To me, that should have been on there, especially when we're paying all these people out here $1,197 a month at over $14,000 a year, each one of them, directors. They're supposed to be representing us. We're the ones that put them there, but yet they're being well paid. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're getting well paid.
Sure, you did hear that there's a lot of time and dedication that goes into all of those skill sets, whether it's the board, whether it's staff, and the whole gamut of the 110 employees. And I could just only rest assured that your question, sir, and the membership, that we take that very seriously, and we look at the market and we look at salary information to see, along with all of the questions and points that you made up, to make sure that that makes sense and that there's 900 co-ops in the country, that this benchmarks to market with all of that.
Yeah, we got people in both these counties that probably don't even make that much money, that are members of this co-op. And how they can afford to pay, I have no idea. But these people are sure enjoying their money, I can tell you that. I think that's terrible.
Appreciate your comments.
By the way, financial statements typically don't include salaries. What typically is included is if there's a golden parachute or possibly the 5 highest paid people. Something like that is generally presented at an annual meeting. But at an annual meeting, you've just said the last 2 years the co-op has lost money. What are the plans to remedy that?
Sure, great question. We're, of course, again, we have a heavy investment in infrastructure, so we're constantly reviewing that investment in infrastructure. What is the right pace? What is the best way to balance that? I would say the answer to that question in a really, really quick one word is balance. Costs are increasing. We have to maintain the rates to provide that balance, to make sure that we have a good financial statement, a good blend of equity, and we'll just continue to look at other rates of other competitive rates of other folks in the area to make sure that we're benchmarking that way, forecasting our future expenses, and looking at our rate design to recover the costs at a reasonable pace and continue to do some of the things I mentioned in my report. Everything costs money, so we're trying to manage that balance the best we can to continue to provide reliable and affordable energy when it comes to electric, natural gas, or our fiber program. Any other questions?
And if you could just state your name before you speak.
I am Lynn Morrison. We have 4 different electrical bills, and if we use no power whatsoever each month, that means cost us $100 a month just to be a member with the availability charge, and 3 of those are all at the same location. But the main reason why I came up here was because I'm wondering, because on each of the bills you charge a Michigan low income, And ours, the last time was 87 cents. You claim you have 5,000 members. If everybody was charged that, that's $4,350 a month. And I'm wondering, is that money being used to pay for people's bills that cannot pay their bills? And if so, if that money is being used to that, are you still ruining that person's credit because you turn it in as though they didn't pay it?
Okay, I'll try to tackle the few of those questions. So that is starting backwards maybe to forward, the LIEF, which is the Low Income Energy Assistance Fund, is pretty much how you described it, that is a pot of money that it's a program mandate through the state that we collect the money and it is used to help offset low income for the energy assistance. So that is the point. It is across, not 5,000 is the number of active fiber customers. This applies to our electric system, so it applies to all over 30,000 electric meters across our territory. The availability, the $25 a month.
You didn't say where that money is going, though.
The money does go back to offset the bills, yes. So if it helps to pay low-income energy bills.
Because when you get in your flyers that come with your billings, it has on there that you can apply for if you're a senior citizen and such. But you still, the way that reads, you're still having to pay what you end up using. There's no write-off?
I'm not sure I quite understand, but there is a program. That money basically at a high level goes to fund a program. So there is a pot, separately accounted a pot of money, that there's a program that gets administered by the various staff at the co-op. So after the meeting, if I wanted to get you in touch with somebody to get you more details, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay. So it doesn't stay in our community?
Yeah.
It does.
I think the answer is a little bit more complicated to the details. Just trying to give you a high level. So we opt into the program, we collect the money, there's an administration piece of it, and then it gets divvied up under program rules to help low income. So the answer to the question in short and summary is yes, there's a charge across the electric meters. The money is accounted for. There are reporting requirements on the funds where they go, and that money is designed to help low income customers with their bills.
Okay. That's what
But thank you. Great question.
I got another question. I live in Benton Township, Sheboygan County. I happen to be talking to a resident that lives in the county there. And you come through there and you wired the place all up for your internet system. And he's a member of Consumers Power, and he tells me that he cannot leave Consumers Power to join your PIE&G. Is that some kind of an agreement you have with consumers?
So, from an electric service.
Well, he's mainly he wants to get on the internet.
Okay, so from an electric service, it would be a prescribed territory. So if you're on consumers, you stay on consumers. If you're on our cooperative for electric, you stay on our cooperative. From an internet perspective, it's not quite the same, but we've so far dedicated to building our electric service to yourselves, the members, before we would contemplate serving a non-member off of our system. So that's probably what maybe we're talking about, the internet service and a consumer's electric member and a Presque electric and gas electric customer. We're building our fiber program to those electric customers of ours before we would contemplate going to a different energy provider or off of our existing system.
So in other words, then he can't do nothing.
Not at this time. If you're a consumer's member, if you're not a member owner of this
No, he can't even
cooperative,
become a member, right?
we're not building to them at the moment, no.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is kind of like a public service announcement. When Wolverine Power was putting their new lines down Frio Highway in Millersburg, I had called them because my husband's grave is up on my property up there. And they took and put a fence around it for me. And I just wanted everybody to know that Wolverine Power has heart. I mean, you know, they went in there and they called me up, and I went up there and said, how big do you want it? I said, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. You know, I mean, and they put a cedar log fence around it, and they put it large enough so that we can get a lawnmower in there and mow it down, because his ashes are buried there. And I just thought, they said because he was in the service. They were just amazed that I had put his ashes there and his markers there. And they just came in and said, don't worry about the cost. And I just wanted everybody to know how nice it was.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that story. I think it echoes about what's important about a cooperative and caring about the community and doing things like that. So I appreciate you sharing that story.
Thank you.
I'm not seeing anything more. I'm seeing one more. Thank you.
Yes, I was just curious what the status is with our electric charging stations. Are they being put out, or are they on hold, or what's going on with them?
Could you state your name first?
I'm Scott McGregor.
Thank you. I don't know that I have a great answer to give you exactly on the status. I know we have electric charging stations deployed throughout of our territory. We continue to look at the usage of them and the demand to see where they may be best situated. I haven't spent a lot of time, honestly, in the last 5 months with that, so I don't have a great detailed answer, but I do know we have them scattered around our service territory and continue to look at the usage and demand. It's more of if there's demand and continued in the electric vehicle movement, we would, of course, continue to look at what we need to serve the members in that capacity.
Yes, when I retired, there were several still sitting on the shelf, and once Wesley retired, he was kind of in charge of that. I was just wondering if anybody is in charge of getting them set out, or what's going on with it.
I would say that's part of the future views and vision to help look at that. So it's a great question and definitely something that we will be having on our table and plate going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Officer Leedy.
Hello, I'm Deputy James Leedy. I'm the School Resource Officer here at Posen. This is my 3rd year here, 5th year with Presque Isle County Sheriff's Office. And not really a question, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Presque Isle Electric Cooperative and in turn the memberships, of which I'm also a member of Presque Isle Electric, and your cooperative and your membership especially, as a result, were instrumental in funding funding the Presque Isle County School Districts in coming on board the Michigan Public Safety Communication System. And to date, it has been a tremendous success and has facilitated emergency communications between our dispatch and the schools already, and served its purpose well. Again, all 3 school districts are on the same radio network now through generous donations, or not donations, but a donation by Presque Isle Electric to aid in purchasing equipment. And like I said, just want to take this opportunity to say thank you all again for ensuring the public safety of our schools, our students, and all those who visit them. It enables us to communicate and interoperate with each other in a crisis, whether that crisis affects a school or the community at large. And like I said, tremendous investment, tremendous success, and I appreciate you all again. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments, and it's again a pleasure to be able to continue the cooperative commitment to the community, to be concerned about our schools, the emergency communications, and partnering also. That was partnered with Wolverine Power, which was also mentioned as a cooperative that we are an owner member of, to continue to support communities, support the schools, and thank you for your service to protecting the community. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Because if I sit down, again, thank you.
All right, thank you. And at this time, we're going to have a short video while we continue to count the ballots and continue to get that official vote for you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask Chairperson Doris Smith of the Election and Credentials Committee to come forward and provide the election results.
Good morning. On behalf of the Election and Credentials Committee, we certify that the election of directors was fairly and impartially conducted, and that we received the votes of the members by ballot and counted the votes cast as following. Lloyd Peltier, 377 votes. Darrell Peterson, 903 votes. Wesley Repke, 166 votes. At large for a 3-year term, Sally Knopf, 694 votes. Angela Stemke, 519 votes. Mary Talaski, 359 votes. For Presqu'île District, for a 2-year term, Scott Cordis, 321 votes. Dallas Hyde, 320 votes. Ruth Ann Largent, 270 votes. Susan Radke, 154 votes. Gerald Smigelski, 362 votes. Elias Teratuta, 178 votes. For the bylaw amendments, there were for yes, there were 1,309 votes. Voting no, 112. The Credentials and Elections Committee certifies that the following members were duly elected directors of the co-op to hold office for their respective terms. Sheboygan District, for a 3-year term, Sandra Borovich. For Montmorency District, for a 3-year term, Darrell Peterson. At large, for a 3-year term, Sally Knopf. For Presqu'île District, for a 2-year term, Gerald Smigelski. For the bylaws, it was amended. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. I would like to congratulate the successful directors and thank all the candidates and you, the membership, for participating in this democratic process. I would also like to thank the Elections and Credentials Committee. They did work tirelessly to count every single ballot that came in. Actually quite stressful, but they did a great job, and I would just like to introduce them. They're in the back corner, so please raise your hand if you hear your name. Gloria Adrian, Daryl Barton, Karen Fifield, Betty Garthus, Cheryl Heine, Dan Cando, Grace Lumsden, Terry Materna, Sue Schalk, Doris Smith, and Deborah Villanueva. So at this time, yeah, you can give them a round of applause if you want. That's great. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Blaze. I'd like to remind the Board of Directors that there will be a reorganizational meeting. This will be immediately following this meeting in the band room next to the new gym. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's meeting. The $100 mail-in raffle prize and door prize announcements will conclude after today's agenda. Lunch will be served immediately upon dismissal. We are asking that you remain seated and you will be directed to the cafeteria by rows starting with the back and handicapped. We ask that you remain seated until our managers direct your row to the seating cafeteria. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. We have a motion. Is there a support? Support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you. And God bless everyone.